I am Zhao Tangtang, the sixth princess of the Zhao kingdom. I once believed I would remain an unremarkable and neglected figure, but on my sixth birthday, my father suddenly acquired the ability to read minds, and I found myself showered with affection beyond my wildest dreams. For the past 6 years, my existence has been a mere cycle of languishing and digging my own grave. For I am acutely aware that my second elder brother is the protagonist in the tale, and once he usurps the throne, I will undoubtedly be the sacrificial chick in his display of power. Indeed, I have transmigrated into this narrative. I am fully cognizant of every plot twist and turn, firmly etched in my memory. Beyond this knowledge, I am left with only my not-so-bright intellect. I never considered vying for my father's affection or enhancing my presence, fully aware of my inability to outmaneuver others. I have never underestimated the wisdom of ancient scholars, nor have I felt overly confident simply because I am a transmigrator. Point 1. My biological mother was a palace maid who became pregnant with me. Even while I was still in her womb, I often heard her, with a gentle hand on her belly, whispering, "Good son, you must be born safely. My future happiness hinges on you." I thought to myself, she was destined for disappointment. Indeed, after I was born, the midwife proclaimed, "Congratulations, it's a little princess." And my mother never cast another glance my way. With no noble background, she had little chance of birthing a prince, and my arrival filled her with resentment towards me. Thus, I led a life devoid of parental love. My mother, having given birth to me, was granted the title of Qiu Jiu by the emperor. Had I been in her position, I would not have been so foolish. Even as a princess, I am still the emperor's flesh and blood, deserving of her care. How misguided she was. The garments I wore were only marginally superior to those of the palace maids, and my daily meals consisted of 2 meager dishes and a soup, with only 2 servings of meat each week. The Ministry of Internal Affairs was like a weathercock, swaying with the winds of favor. As a princess who had only ever received a fleeting glance from the emperor since birth, I was effectively invisible within the palace. And I was content to remain a passive observer, leading a life of tranquility. A turning point arrived on my 6th birthday. Point 2. Every year, no one celebrated my birthday. However, I had a devoted maid named Biu, who would sneak into the imperial garden to gather a few flowers for me, as a token of celebration. As for my mother, on this day, she would lie in bed, shedding tears for the non-existent son I had usurped from her. How absurd! This underscores the importance of compulsory education. That day, I accompanied Biu to the imperial garden while she picked flowers, and I reclined on a stone slab, my eyes closed and my mind wandering. If life could continue like this, it wouldn't be so bad. No troubles, no one paying attention, like an ant, easily crushed, yet ignored by all. I wonder if I will ever catch a glimpse of my father, having been so young at 5 and not attending any gatherings. I am now 6 and have no idea if he even remembers me. Haha. Oh, how I wish I could indulge in a delicious mung bean cake today. As a gentle breeze caressed my face, I was lost in my reverie when someone tugged at the hem of my garment. I opened my eyes to find a young eunuch before me. Looking up, I spotted a striking man in a yellow robe, around 30 years of age, gazing at me in confusion. A man in a yellow robe, accompanied by a throng of eunuchs and palace maids, must surely be my father. This cannot bode well. The expression on my father's face shifted from puzzlement to astonishment. What could he possibly be surprised about? That he has an unseen daughter? Ha ha ha. He shook his head and commanded, "You, come here." I approached cautiously, anxiety causing me to clutch my garment tightly. Upon drawing nearer, I was momentarily blinded by the emperor's striking appearance. My father is astonishingly handsome. Truly, how could my mother's beauty alone produce such a stunning daughter, one whose beauty could rival that of the most exquisite wonders of nature? The emperor suddenly erupted into hearty laughter, pulling my hand into his. "Who are you? Look at that. My negligent father doesn't even recognize his own daughter. How disgraceful." "Father, your daughter is the 6th princess, Zhao Tangtang." The emperor raised an eyebrow and inquired further, "The 6th princess is today your birthday?" I was filled with trepidation. The elderly eunuch behind the emperor bore an expression of shock. It seemed the Ministry of Internal Affairs would soon be in turmoil. How does he know? Is it a requirement for emperors to possess remarkable memory? The emperor squinted, a smile gracing his lips, and I grew increasingly anxious. Why does he keep smiling? Am I truly that amusing? Since it is your 6th birthday, Why was no report made for a birthday banquet? I can't believe it, he even knows I am 6. Could it be that my father has been secretly observing me? However, as for a birthday banquet, I can barely fill my belly. How could the Ministry of Internal Affairs possibly organize such a feast? A well-fed person cannot fathom the hunger of the starving. The emperor furrowed his brow, and a multitude of people knelt before him. Kneel or not? Well, perhaps I should kneel after all. What on earth is my father doing? Just as I resolved to kneel, the emperor extended his long arm and lifted me into his embrace. He even awkwardly patted my head. Could it be that my fortunate days are about to begin? Has my father been utterly captivated by my irresistible cuteness at first sight? The hand that was patting my head paused, and the emperor cleared his throat before saying, "Return to the Wendy Hall and prepare a banquet." After a brief pause, he added, "Make sure to prepare more pastries." This, I gleefully wiggled my little feet. 3. I was carried all the way to the Wend Hall by my dear father. An array of delectable dishes awaited on the table, and I could hardly suppress the drool that escaped my lips. A handkerchief was offered to wipe away the unidentifiable liquid, and only then did I regain my senses. My father gently placed me upon a chair, while the emperor's trusted attendant, Chen Liangfu, assisted in washing my hands. Chen Liangfu is actually washing my hands. Oh my. I'm soaring high. He is indeed the most favored and trusted attendant of His Majesty. The emperor cleared his throat, took the handkerchief, and personally washed my hands. Ah. Father. I was so overwhelmed with excitement that I lost my words. The emperor suddenly burst into hearty laughter, and I gazed at him in confusion. Indeed, the emperor is just as the rumors suggest, capricious in his moods. Do try the dishes. I hope they please your palate. At last I heard those words, and I eagerly seized a piece of spiced cake, stuffing it into my mouth under the astonished gazes of my father and Xin Liangfu. Take your time. No one is competing with you. I nodded, yet my eating was anything but slow. After all, in my past life, I was a connoisseur of sweets. I could hardly contain my delight at finally indulging in something sweet. It would be a disservice to my father to not devour it whole. I wonder if I can take some home later. Alas, once this meal is over, I don't know how long I must wait for another. The emperor frowned and quietly instructed Chen Liangfu, who then bowed and withdrew. As I savored my food, I noticed the emperor had yet to take a bite. So I reluctantly placed what I considered the most delicious osmanthus cake onto his plate. Ah! The last piece of osmanthus cake. You are drifting away from me. Whoa. The emperor seemed to stifle a laugh as he broke the cake in half with his esteemed hands, shoving one half into my mouth. Once this last piece is gone, you shall have no more, lest you choke. With that, he placed the remaining half into his golden mouth. Though reluctant, I understood his reasoning. I savored the last morsel before sitting up straight obediently. The emperor appeared quite pleased with my compliance. On this day of your birth, do you have any desires for gifts? My eyes sparkled with joy, but I kept my lips sealed. The mere act of dining with my father was the most splendid gift. Silver. Gold. If only he could spend more time with me. No. Just give me money. Fulfill your duties as a father. The emperor's expression shifted like a painter's palette. Very well, I shall visit you more often. My face fell, but only for a moment, before I beamed with surprise. Thank you, father. Speechless. The emperor let out a cold chuckle, sending a shiver down my spine. It is settled then. I will certainly come to see you frequently. No. How can I remain a sloth then? At that moment, Chen Liangfu entered, carrying a food box. Your Highness, this is a special treat prepared for you by the emperor. I accepted it with delight. This was quite a treat, but I cannot eat it today. I understand, my lady. After that, I eagerly awaited my father to dismiss me. However, once the maid had cleared the table, my father approached the writing desk and still had yet to bid me farewell. Unable to contain myself, I exchanged knowing glances with Chen Liangfu and stealthily climbed down from my chair, preparing to sneak away with my food box. Where are you going? I froze in place. My father was working, and I thought it best not to disturb him, so I decided to leave. The emperor laughed heartily. You are quite sensible. Go on then. Hooray. The emperor rubbed his temples in exasperation. After I left, he turned to Chen Liangfu and asked, Find out, what exactly is a sloth? 4. I paid no heed to the turmoil among the harem as I skipped gleefully back to my own quarters, clutching my food box. Not long after my return, my mother summoned her personal maid, Rui, instructing her to find me. Something was amiss. I secured my food box and, accompanied by Bu, made my way to my mother's side hall. Upon entering, I plopped down onto the couch, declaring, "Why has my sister summoned me?" My mother appeared quite displeased with my casual demeanor and furrowed her brow. "Is this how a princess presents herself before the emperor?" I nodded. Understanding this was a signal of hope for a son. We exchanged silent glances until she finally spoke. "You must know, to give birth to you, your mother lost a son." I couldn't help but smile inwardly. Now that I was 6 years old, I could have my own separate quarters. And I no longer needed to be overly cautious in my speech. "Sister, you jest. From the moment I was conceived, it was destined that I would be born. I hope you cease this self-deception." My mother trembled with indignation, pointing a quivering finger at me, for this was indeed my first act of defiance. "You! How dare you be so disrespectful? Come here." With that, she stepped forward and pulled me to kneel on the ground, the direction of my kneeling leading to a memorial plaque. I was taken aback. My mother truly had audacity. Establishing a personal memorial within the palace was a severe transgression. No, I could not allow her to ruin my leisurely existence. I must devise a way to escape. "Apologize for your earlier words." The identity of him was clear. It was the imaginary son of Qiu Jiu. Thinking she could bully me due to my youth and frailty, I suddenly lunged forward, as if I had lost my balance, and aimed for the wooden plaque. "Ha! You think you can make me kneel? Not a chance."
No.
"You wicked child. What have you done? You would kill him a second time," she exclaimed, before collapsing in Rui's gasp. I composed myself, realizing she must be quite ill.
Bu?
"Go fetch a physician to examine my sister, and see if she has developed some hysteria." With that, I turned and returned to my own quarters. My life could not be disrupted, even by a mother who bore me but offered no nurturing. 5. As night fell, I played with the tangram that Bu had crafted, pondering which consort would find joy and which would be distressed tonight. Suddenly, footsteps halted at the doorway, and I perked my ears, guessing it was Bu.
Bu?
"Bring in my pastries." Just then, a figure entered. "You truly do not heed my words." I looked up in terror. "Father. Oh my, what brings him here? The others in the palace will surely despise me." The emperor suddenly laughed, leaving me confused about what was so amusing. I wondered if my father had fallen ill, as he appeared so weak and timid. I stepped forward to pay my respects. Meanwhile, my mother, having received the news, rushed over. I pay my respects to the emperor. She was nearly brimming with joy. This opportunistic mother of mine must think her son is about to prosper. TSK. If he were to be born, perhaps she would no longer harbor such animosity towards me. She might even forget me entirely. How wonderful that would be. The emperor's voice halted as he commanded me to rise, casting a glance at the kneeling Qiu Jiu, before striding toward me and lifting me into his embrace. "I ask you, why do you not obey my words?" "I was wrong, father. I merely wished to reward myself with a piece before bed. Had you not come, I would have already devoured it and been asleep by now." The emperor beckoned Chen Liangfu to bring forth the food box, extracting a piece of mung bean cake and personally feeding it to me. Mung bean cake. This must be a sign of our connection. I happily bit into it, and the emperor laughed heartily. Once I finished, he spoke. "Today is your birthday, so I shall grant your wish. But you must heed my words thereafter." I nodded vigorously. Just then, Bu burst in, exclaiming, "Your Highness, I have brought the medicinal ointment." I smacked my forehead. "This is too obvious. My dear father is no fool, Bu."
Clever je to nové.
The emperor frowned. "Why is there a need for medicinal ointment?" Upon seeing my mother's trembling form, I thought to myself, "Now you feel fear after causing me harm." The emperor cast a contemplative glance towards Qiu Jiu, halting Bu's impending words. "If Qiu Jiu cannot treat my daughter well, then she shall no longer be in her care. I shall take over her upbringing from now on." Qiu Jiu's head shot up. I gasped. Chen Liangfu's eyes widened. "Goodness. This is unprecedented." Liangfu instructed someone to pack the belongings of the princess. For today she would be moving to my diligent governance hall. Tomorrow, instruct the craftsman to prepare a small bed. Understood. After saying this, he embraced me and left without a backward glance. Everyone in the palace was aware that Qiu Jiu was doomed. After being carried into the diligent governance hall, I felt a surge of excitement.
Wow.
Does this mean I can sleep on the dragon bed tonight?
Ah.
The emperor furrowed his brow. Liangfu, find a nurturing wet nurse for the sixth princess tomorrow.
I was taken aback. No.
I'll be punished. Select someone gentle. Chen Liangfu replied with a smile. I scrambled onto the dragon bed, marveling at its size. Such a large dragon bed must be to prevent father from rolling off in his sleep and losing face. Haha. The emperor lifted me with a stern expression. You haven't even washed up yet, and you behave like this? Your mother taught you nothing of decorum.
Oh.
She never taught me anything at all. Chen Liangfu withdrew, instructing the eunuchs and palace maids to prepare for my washing and grooming. He took hold of the ready-to-accompany Biu and said, Miss Biu, you need not concern yourself with these matters anymore. Your status has increased considerably. Biu joyfully expressed her gratitude for the advice. Inside the diligent governance hall, after I was cleaned up, my father returned to his desk to continue reviewing memorials.
Ah.
He treats me somewhat well. It would be a shame to see him perish. A teacup on the table was knocked over, and Chen Liangfu immediately came to clean it up. That second prince truly is an unfilial wretch. I thought indignantly. Given that this lenient father treats me relatively well, I could eventually lead him into the dog hole I've been digging for 3 years. After all, if I wish to be a lazy fish after leaving, I need a father to support me. Well, even if he doesn't support me, I could still manage to sustain a father through business ventures. Suddenly, the emperor stood up, and I looked at him in confusion. What time is it that you are still awake? Sleep, he said, rolling over and tossing me onto the bed. As we lay there, I was just about to close my eyes when my father suddenly spoke. Do you like your royal brothers? I rarely see them, but I certainly like them. Not at all. The emperor seemed to take an interest, turning to me and propping his head up, asking, What do you think of your eldest brother? He is gentle and refined, a bookworm who dotes on me. And what of your second brother? He has a charming smile, a smiling tiger, and a heartless scoundrel. He would harm his own father for the throne. After a long while without hearing any more questions from the emperor, I thought, Goodness, has he fallen asleep so quickly? I turned to look, and indeed, he sleeps like a pig. I closed my eyes, adjusting the covers for myself and my lenient father, and soon fell into a deep slumber. Unbeknownst to me, at the moment my little snores began, my father's eyes were wide awake. The next day, I awoke only when the sun was high in the sky. My mother was unusually kind today and did not come to torment me. Oh, I now resided in my father's palace. Upon seeing that I was awake, Chen Liangfu smiled and ordered the palace maids to bring a washing basin. I allowed them to fuss over me like a marionette. After grooming and changing, the maid styled my hair into 2 cute buns tied with red ribbons, which looked incredibly festive against my round face.
Ah.
I looked just like a New Year painting doll. Soon, Chen Liangfu lifted me up and began to walk outside. I realized with surprise that we were headed towards the Zichen Hall, where court was held. Panic surged, and I clung to Chen Liangfu's neck, asking, Minister Chen, where are we going? He smiled and replied, The emperor, concerned that the princess might awaken to boredom, has ordered me to bring her to court.
Goodness. I'm doomed.
I will undoubtedly become the target of the harem. I couldn't fathom what had gone awry in my father's mind. In the Zichen Hall, I found myself in the emperor's embrace, under the gaze of the civil and military officials. Soon, the chancellor spoke up. Your Majesty, this is against reason. I pouted, thinking, this old man is quite cunning. The second prince's rebellion owes much to his scheming. It's only natural for him to dislike my favor. The emperor tightened his hold on me. What I wish to do is not for you to dictate. If there are matters to discuss, present them. If not, withdraw from court. I exchanged startled glances with the officials below. What has possessed this lenient father? He has always been accommodating towards the chancellor, never before scowling like this. The chancellor's face was as dark as coal. Your Majesty, The southern regions have been struck by a great flood, and the people are suffering. I request funds for disaster relief. Here it comes. My small hand tightened around my father's dragon robe. The emperor cast me a cryptic glance before allowing the chancellor to continue. I believe that the eldest prince, given his noble status, should be allocated funds and dispatched to deliver relief silver and grain to the disaster-stricken areas.
Oh.
Next will be my suggestion that the second prince could benefit from some practical experience. I believe that the second prince could benefit from some practical experience. Look. The second prince, with 30,000 taels for disaster relief, will recruit soldiers and purchase land in the south, deceiving my foolish father. Then use the people's suffering and claims of the emperor's unworthiness to incite rebellion. How absurd! How can natural disasters be blamed on a foolish father? The emperor lifted me slightly and patted my back as if to soothe me to sleep. As for the second prince, I have other arrangements. My ministers. Whom do you suggest we send among the remaining princes? Surely, the third prince is the best candidate. He is devoted to his elder brother, cares for the people, and is highly skilled in martial arts. Although a bit foolish, he is loyal to a fault. When the second prince rebelled, he stood before the emperor and the eldest prince, and, before me. My third brother is my unresolved longing. I believe the third prince is capable of this task. The valiant general stepped forward, who was the third prince's martial arts instructor. I believe the fifth prince, although young, it is time for him to undergo some experience. The speaker was the Minister of Revenue. I scoffed inwardly, thinking, how ridiculous. To treat disaster relief as mere experience. Does that not turn the people into playthings?
Bang.
The emperor slammed a memorial on the Minister of Revenue's face. The hall fell into a state of fear, and everyone knelt in terror. Third prince stepped forward. The bewildered third prince approached and knelt. Your son is here. I hereby command you to take 30,000 taels of relief silver and 100 carts of grain as my envoy to the south for disaster relief. Your son obeys. And thus, this matter was settled. After court, I wriggled free from my father's embrace, seeking time to play outside. I then rubbed my small hands together, waiting in the imperial garden. My third brother always played with me whenever he saw me in the garden, bringing me treats from his residence. However, our encounters were quite rare, as he had reached an age where entering the harem was not very convenient. But seeing me in the grand hall today, he would surely come. I perked up my ears, and indeed, he arrived. Sixth sister. Third brother. He lifted me up, pinching my nose. Sixth sister has gained quite a bit of weight. Very good. Look, this time, I had my men send you pear blossom pastries. They smell delightful. Even before the food box was opened, I could already catch a whiff of its enticing aroma. I gleefully had Bu accept it. As my third brother was about to embark on a journey, I had a gift for him too. The second prince had failed in his relief efforts, so I was uncertain what underhanded schemes he might resort to. I quietly slipped a concealed crossbow I had crafted into my third brother's sleeve, something I had secretly gathered materials for, intending it for self-defense. Now that the emperor was personally raising me, it wasn't appropriate to keep it close. Third brother. This is a weapon I made for you. It's suitable for self-defense and won't be easily discovered by others. The third prince felt the weapon in his sleeve and pinched my chubby cheek, saying, I did not misjudge you. Little did I know, this concealed crossbow would indeed save my third brother's life. I skipped back to the Hall of Governance, with Baiyu clutching a food box, trotting behind me. Upon entering the room, I found my father, the emperor, already engrossed in reviewing memorials. Surely, it must be the consequence of previous misdeeds that he finds himself in this arduous position as emperor in this life. Just look at the toil he endures. With a rip, Chun Liangfu hurriedly stepped forward to replace the paper. The nurturing matron was still selecting appropriate responses for the emperor. Hurry up.
Oh.
This wretched father is so cruel. He must be envious of my fortune. Third brother has set off, and before his departure, he made sure to send me some fresh pastries through a servant, along with a message. When third brother returns, he will take you out of the palace. Baiyu conveyed the servant's words, and I nodded eagerly, hoping he would return in perfect condition. My third brother, Sixth Princess, we must continue our studies. Or else we won't be able to enjoy today's pastries, said the nurturing matron assigned by my father, Matron Sheng. Once a matron for the Empress Dowager. She was somewhat aged but gentle, yet adept at managing me. Now, the emperor had personally arranged for a maid for me, named Hongyu, together with Matron Sheng. They surely intended to mold me into the most refined princess. To be honest, after this round of instruction, it would be hard for anyone to find fault with me in the future. On this day, I found myself once again in the imperial garden, seated on a swing that had been specially arranged for me by the emperor, lost in thoughts of third brother. The gifts he had yet to bring back weighed heavily on my mind. Second princess, you must not go over there. Turning around, I saw a vividly dressed lady rushing towards me. Before I could react, she pushed me off the swing. Ouch, that hurt. Thankfully, I didn't land on my face. From a distance, Hongyu, who had been picking flowers for me, hurried over, panic etched on her face. Master, are you alright? She exclaimed.
Biu.
Quickly, fetch the doctor. Something was off. My knee was burning with pain, rendering me speechless. Meanwhile, the maidservants of Second Princess Zhao Siyue were frantically kneeling. Oh dear, Sixth Sister. I truly apologize for rushing. Hongyu was furious. It was evident to anyone with eyes that it was you, Second Princess, who intentionally pushed my master. Hongyu was a secret guard of the Emperor, a fact I was aware of, but others were oblivious. How dare you speak to this princess in such a manner? Someone slap her. Hongyu's eyes turned cold, ready to retaliate. I permitted it. What do you intend to do about it? To be honest, compared to the 6 years of being unnoticed, the feeling of being cherished by my father is quite delightful. At least when I am bullied, someone stands up for me. At this moment, I was seated on my father's lap while the doctor applied medicine to my knee, and the second princess was kneeling before me. Quite nice indeed. Tangtang, does it hurt? I immediately feigned tears. Father, it hurts. But in my heart, I was elated. This second princess is no good either. After the rebellion against my father, she actually kicked his remains to gain the favor of the second prince. That's how she became the most favored princess in the palace.
Ah.
It hurts. Father, why are you pinching me so hard? Thankfully, my father quickly released his grip on my waist, or it would have surely broken. Being an emperor certainly comes with its own set of issues. I cast a resentful glance at him, only to find his icy gaze fixed on the kneeling second princess. She would remain there until midnight, I suppose. The court ladies and eunuchs behind her gasped in shock. Have you heard? The second princess was punished to kneel until midnight for injuring the sixth princess. This is simply too excessive. Our sixth princess must be remarkable to have won the emperor's favor to such an extent. Indeed. I hid behind a column, pouting. Now the spotlight is on me. But it's all right. My dear father will likely protect me. Upon returning to the Hall of Governance, I saw the virtuous consort kneeling at the entrance. She is the mother of the second princess. Her gaze upon me was sharp as a blade. I made a face at her and dashed into the hall. I'm not afraid of her glare. Although I may seem like a fish out of water, my mind is filled with knowledge. If intellect cannot compete with the aura of the male lead, I can always escape through the dog hole with my father. If my father wins, I shall live as a carefree princess. If he loses, I shall become a business tycoon to support him. I could also add in a big brother, third brother, and Chun Liangfu. Come here. The emperor's resonant voice carried a hint of mirth, indicating his good mood. I bounced over and nestled into his embrace. Perhaps I should start with weaponry. A thought crossed my mind, and I looked up at my father. Father, I wish to paint. Could you perhaps explain to me what Tangtang is painting? I proudly replied, I previously gifted third brother a self-made sleeve crossbow. And this is a larger version with greater lethality. The arrows I crafted from wood can pierce through trees. Making a jest I added in my past life. I was a manufacturer of interstellar weaponry. Though I cannot produce laser cannons here, crafting formidable cold weapons is a trivial task. The emperor's gaze grew intense. Tangtang has truly created something remarkable. Oh no. To emphasize the weapon's quality, I've exposed myself. I hope father won't punish me. Creating weapons is a grave offense. I do not blame you. You were merely entertaining yourself out of boredom in the palace, were you not? Yes, indeed. This father truly provides me with excuses. How wonderful. Feeling reassured, I instructed Bai Yu to retrieve the crossbow arrows from my trunk. The emperor examined them closely, and it was evident that his delight grew with each passing moment. What a fine creation! Such ingenuity! No wonder it possesses such power. Liang Fu, you must come and take a closer look. This crossbow arrow is truly ingenious. Indeed, it boasts great power while remaining lightweight, making it suitable for both battle and assassination. I added, only to receive a playful slap on my behind. Subsequently, the emperor scooped me up and exited the hall, casting not a glance at the kneeling virtuous consort. Heading toward the training grounds, he dismissed everyone present, and with a wave of his hand, a figure clad in black appeared before us, another secret guard, akin to Hong Yu. Test the power of these wooden arrows. Yes. With a whoosh, the arrow soared towards the distant target, piercing it effortlessly. Moments later, the target shattered into pieces. The emperor joyfully tossed me into the air. I shrieked in surprise.
Mido Tang Tang. Proclaim the decree.
Sixth Princess Zhao Tangtang is knowledgeable and principled. Noble yet frugal, diligent in adherence to rules, capable of assisting in ceremonial matters, maintaining decorum, and nurturing goodwill and kindness. Henceforth, she shall be granted the title of noble princess of third rank.
What?
Third rank. Yes. Chen Liangfu replied with a satisfied smile. My elevation to nobility caused quite a stir. It is well known that the emperor is notoriously frugal when it comes to bestowing titles. Even the empress had summoned me several times, which left my short legs quite exhausted. Today, the empress called for me once more. I held a favorable impression of her. Although she had previously ignored me, she never hindered her two sons from caring for me. Indeed, my eldest brother and third brother are both the empress's sons. Upon entering the Sinang Palace, I found the empress seated gracefully on a couch, smiling, and to my surprise, my elder brother was also present. I presented the skincare products I had made with my own hands. I must admit, ancient Earth had its advantages. With abundant resources, the anti-aging cream that was once a treasure beyond reach in my past life was easily crafted here. What is this? The empress inquired. I stepped forward and bowed. Mother, this is a skincare product made by your daughter. The empress smiled with approval and handed the product to her personal maid. I knew she would require the maid to test it for a few days before using it herself. I had also included a list of ingredients for the physician's review. You are quite thoughtful. The reason I summoned you today is that your elder brother requested it.
Oh.
This was indeed unexpected. My elder brother smiled at me. Gently ruffling my hair, father said I seemed too dull and advised me to engage more with my dear sister He Xiao, rather than bury myself in books. The empress nodded in agreement. The most vibrant spirit in the entire palace is indeed He Xiao. Though I was taken aback, I quickly accepted the reality of having an elder brother. Dear older brother, let us depart from the palace. The request to leave the palace was swiftly approved. My elder brother, upon exiting the city, could not resist inquiring, Sister, shall we not indulge in some leisure within the capital? Of course. We shall not linger in the capital. This elder brother of mine has never ventured beyond his comfort zone, having been meticulously sheltered. Today, Sister shall introduce you to something quite different, I said with an innocent smile. My elder brother nodded thoughtfully. After a bumpy ride in the carriage for an hour, we finally arrived at my chosen destination. This locale was home to a genius reminiscent of Zhuge Liang. As chronicled in texts, my second brother had made several attempts to win him over, only to resort to sending his family to their demise when he failed. The carriage rolled into the village, known as Scholar's Village, named after this talented individual, Yu Tongyan. Hand in hand with my royal brother, I descended from the carriage and proceeded directly to Yu Tongyan's residence. At the entrance, a matron was busy washing clothes. Upon seeing our entourage, adorned in finery, she nervously rubbed her hands together and approached us cautiously. Before my elder brother could speak, I chimed in, Good lady, my brother and I are here for a visit, and I am quite fatigued. Might you allow us to stay for the night? The matron beamed, Of course. We have a vacant room in our home. Please, esteemed guests, come in. She then called towards the interior, Son. We have honored guests. Come and attend to them. A young man emerged from within, the one and only Yu Tongyan. That night, I occupied a separate room while my elder brother shared quarters with Yu Tongyan. After dinner, I whispered to my elder brother, "This young gentleman is truly talented. You must seize this opportunity." My elder brother looked at me in surprise, and I stretched lazily before returning to my room. At this point, the rest was up to him. That night, I slept soundly on a farmer's bed. Upon rising in the morning, I found my elder brother engaged in an animated discussion with Yu Tongyan, their rapport quite harmonious, which pleased me greatly. The matron, noticing I was awake, hurriedly prepared breakfast. At the dining table, the two continued their spirited discourse, sharing a sense of mutual admiration. After our meal, I tugged at my elder brother, leading him to the matron's fields, with Yu Tongyan trailing behind. After handing my elder brother a hoe, he stared blankly at me. With a deep sigh, I asked, "Brother, have you ever heard the tale of why not eat meat porridge?" Yu Tongyan leaned in, intrigued. I slightly modified the story. Once, a monarch questioned his attendants, "Why do the people not eat meat porridge when they are starving?" Such foolishness reveals a lack of personal experience. To make judgments without understanding is unjust. Now, my brother, you ought to labor in the fields to truly grasp the hardships faced by the common folk. I had merely observed. Both men appeared enlightened. Yu Tongyan's gaze towards me brimmed with admiration. "She, brother, your sister may be but 6 years old, yet her insight is remarkable." My elder brother, filled with pride, replied, "Sister is indeed the most astute." With that, they both set to work in the fields, much to the astonishment of the matron and her husband. My elder brother demonstrated great perseverance, even though he could hardly stand after only a brief while. He remained resolute until the day's labor was complete, working until nightfall. At last he exclaimed, "So this is the daily life of the common people." My elder brother successfully won over Yu Tongyan, and upon revealing his identity, he was filled with a mix of surprise and joy. Who would not be enchanted by a like-minded prince of legitimate lineage? "Brother, ensure the safety of our allies." My elder brother understood and arranged for Yu Tongyan's parents to join us, which deeply touched you. I nodded in satisfaction. Thus, our return journey included 3 additional companions. Time flew by like a fleeting shadow, and soon, heavy snow began to fall. In recent days, my father's demeanor had darkened. I knew it was due to my third brother's prolonged absence. It had been over a week since any news of him, and I worried, hoping that the crossbow I gifted him would prove useful. Although I did not believe in the divine, I found myself praying daily for my brother's safety. The Empress showered me with affection during this time, but I remained indifferent. All I wished for was the safe return of my beloved third brother, who always brought me pastries from the imperial garden. One day, the snow piled high, nearly reaching my knees. Suddenly, Bu rushed in, exclaiming, "Princess, the third prince has returned." I sprang to my feet. My brother was back. Ignoring the palace maids and eunuchs' protests, I dashed toward the Zikin Hall. My dear third brother, the one who cherished me most, was safe at last. Bursting into the hall, I immediately spotted the familiar figure, now even more robust and tall. I rushed forward, and he embraced me tightly. In that moment, tears streamed down my cheeks. I realized I had grown accustomed to this era, to this family. "Third brother, why did you take so long to return?" He gently patted my back, speaking softly to comfort me. "But I have returned safely, dear sister. Do not weep. It pains my heart. Come here, He Shao," the emperor commanded. I did not wish to comply, burying my face in my brother's broad chest. "Father, I too wish to hold my sister," he added. In my brother's embrace, I learned the full story of his ordeal. It turned out that during his journey, he had faced assassination and abduction. Thanks to my crossbow, he managed to escape, though he was left without any soldiers. He could only hide and quietly contact General Pingnan, who guarded the southern front. After months of planning, he successfully raided the stronghold and reclaimed the supplies, even managing to recover a staggering sum of 100,000 taels of silver. My brother presented the token from the stronghold, and upon seeing it, I gasped. I knew it. This eagle insignia is none other than the emblem of the second prince's private army. How detestable. I wished to assassinate him and flay him alive. I pondered. For some reason, the emperor shot me a glare. "You've worked hard. Now rest well." "Yes." he replied, and with that, he dismissed us. My brother carried me out of the hall, pinching my chubby cheek as he used to. This time, thanks to the crossbow you gifted me, I owe you my gratitude. As tears welled in my eyes again, my brother quickly lifted me. The gifts my brother brought back were the most extravagant, including fruits unique to the South. One could easily deduce that such fresh produce reached my hands only through a relentless journey. True to his word, my brother took me out of the palace for days of delightful escapades, only returning when the emperor urged us to come back. During this period, I tirelessly created opportunities to present new ideas to the emperor, such as the cultivation of potatoes and corn, the method of making glass, and the curved plow. One day, I found myself facing impeachment. I was summoned to the court, and indeed, it was the treacherous prime minister. Your Majesty, the sixth princess must be a demon. The emperor has been bewitched by this creature. She must be burned at the stake. I strolled into the court with an air of nonchalance. My father's face was a stormy shade of blue, suppressing his anger. Does this esteemed lord believe that cleverness equates to demonic possession? Indeed. You can dismiss any notion of that possibility. Father can rest assured, I remarked, smacking my lips. The mighty general laughed heartily, while the prime minister's expression darkened. You.
What of it? You.
With a thundering slap on the table, the emperor declared, who permitted you to point at my daughter? You have audaciously overstepped your bounds. If my Hishao is a demon, I would hope that all in my court are demons. What demon would only seek the welfare of the common people and the stability of my reign?
I am quite clear about that.
Your reasons for impeaching Hishao are also apparent to me. The prime minister knelt in terror, and I observed him exchange a glance with the second prince. I understood that their patience had worn thin. The emperor's rule had grown ever more stable, and the people's lives were improving. If they did not act soon, they might lose their chance for rebellion altogether. Should that be the case, even if they succeeded, their unworthiness would lead to scorn from the world. I was not mistaken in my conjecture. That day, while still nestled in my cocoon of blankets, I was abruptly lifted by Hong Yu, who, along with Biu, carried me towards the Zicheng Hall. In my dazed state, I realized that the proceedings had commenced. As soon as we entered the hall, the second prince strode in, flanked by soldiers. My father, the emperor, shielded me behind him, while my third brother stood protectively before the emperor, and my elder brother positioned himself at my side. It matters not. After all, I have already excavated a dog hole in the Zicheng Hall. My father's back trembled slightly. Assuming he was frightened, I comfortingly patted his thigh, quite helplessly, for I was too short. Do you even comprehend what you are doing? The second prince bellowed. I am fully aware. The common folk are suffering, and my heart aches for them. It would be better for my father to relinquish the throne to me, so he may meet our ancestors in the afterlife. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. How utterly shameless. The second prince shot me a murderous glare, prompting my father and brothers to tighten their protective embrace around me. Brother, your words are truly ludicrous. Is there anyone unaware that the citizens of Tiancheng are living in peace, their doors unlatched at night? You wish to be emperor? I would hardly think so highly of you. I pointed at the second prince, my laughter turning to tears. His eyes reddened with rage as he glared at me, seemingly embarrassed by the truth of my words. You witch, he shouted, raising his spear to the heavens. Bring forth the guards. Since my father is ungrateful, seize my sixth sister alive. A cold smirk crept onto my face as I drew my hidden crossbow, preparing to deliver a lethal blow, only to have my hand restrained by my father. I looked up to find him regarding me with a beaming smile, radiating warmth. Xiaohe, do not dirty your hands. I was taken aback, my eyes wide with shock. How could my father know? With a mere wave of his hand, a multitude of concealed guards leaped down from the eaves, engaging in combat, while outside the hall, the sounds of battle echoed ominously. All was under control. My father had anticipated this. I puzzled over how he had known, considering the second prince was the chosen male protagonist, and, even if he openly amassed troops, it should have remained undetected. I couldn't fathom it, feeling a twinge of regret. After all that effort digging the dog hole, it was for naught.
Sigh.
Suddenly, my father erupted in laughter, lifting me into his arms. Then after this is over, I shall have a look at your dog hole. In an instant, terror seized me, and my body stiffened. Father had triumphed. I was paralyzed. It turned out that he had always been able to hear my innermost thoughts. Tears welled in my eyes as I realized that most of my words had been rebellious in nature. From that moment on, I began to avoid my father. How frightening it was. I contemplated fleeing through the very dog hole I had once dug. Being a princess was no small matter, but fortunately, I had diligently saved a considerable fortune over the years. One fateful night, under the cloak of darkness and a rising wind, the conditions were ripe for escape. I strapped on my small bundle and ran with all my might. At long last, victory was within reach. I had arrived. Almost there. My nape. I was seized by someone, the familiar scent of sandalwood wafting around me, and I was too disheartened to turn my head. I was caught. My father having apprehended me in the act. In the palace, my father, the empress, and my elder and third brothers regarded me with stern expressions. You've grown up. Attempting to run away from home. I shot a resentful glance at my father. It's all your fault. How terrifying it is to have my thoughts laid bare. My father lifted me up and placed me across his knee, then delivered a resounding slap to my backside. Ouch! I shall ignore you. You dare to ignore me, he retorted, waving away the concerned faces of those present. The room was now left with just me and my dear father. Xiaohe, I truly owe you an apology. Since your birth, I have been neglectful, bringing you to the hall only because I found your ability to convey your thoughts intriguing. I have exploited you, and for that, I am sorry. Yet, my affection for you has been genuine, entirely sincere, devoid of manipulation. I swear upon the realm and the heavens. I genuinely wish to be a good father. Will you forgive me? I gazed at him, a tumult of emotions swirling within me. Finally, all right. After all, the realm was indeed a solemn vow. 10 years later, my elder brother ascended the throne, my father became the retired emperor, and I was granted the title of first-rank princess of the state. On this day, my father prepared to take me to the summer palace, personally escorted by my elder brother. I assisted my father into the carriage, turning back to flash a radiant smile at my brother and waving goodbye. What sins did my elder brother commit in his past life, that he should bear the burden of being emperor? From within the carriage, I could hear my father's hearty laughter, but I failed to notice the sudden rigidity of the new emperor's form and the disbelief etched across his face. Little Dizzy, did you hear what the princess just said? In response to the emperor's inquiry, the princess had said nothing at all.